right, so Kanye West and Bianca Censori at the Grammys, they really got people talking online. We're talking bold fashion choices, some family drama maybe even, and everyone's kind of trying to figure out what's going on with their relationship. So you sent over a couple articles from the Daily Mail and GB News, and then
Yeah.
a YouTube deep dive, too, from True Celebrity Stories. I think we've got a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, definitely a lot to dive into. It is interesting, though, isn't it, how, like, this one event kind of touches on all these different aspects of, like, celebrity culture. We've got the fashion, the family dynamics, and then, like, how
Yeah.
they present themselves, public image and all that. Really makes you think about how these couples kind of navigate life when everyone's watching.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's just start with the outfit. I mean, Censori's dress, that sheer skin-toned mini dress, I mean, come on. Definitely got everyone's attention, especially since she took off that fur coat she arrived in. And then West, keeping it pretty low-key in all black, just made her stand out even more, I think.
Oh, yeah, she definitely stood out. And speaking of that fur coat, the Daily Mail, they actually had a body language expert analyze, their expressions and everything. Judy James is her name. And she was saying that while Censori arrived, with that like classic model stare, she actually seemed kind of nervous right before she took off the coat. Like there was a little flicker of something. And then once the coat was off, it was like her whole body language changed, like maybe some anxiety there under the surface.
Oh, wow, really? So even with like the fierce walk and everything, she might have been feeling the pressure. I mean, it is the Grammys after all. Makes you wonder, though, like what was she going for with that outfit? Was it a power move, a fashion statement, or was there something else going on?
It's hard to say for sure. But I mean, this isn't the first time they've made headlines with their, unconventional choices. The Daily Mail even compared this whole Grammys look to some of Kanye's past album imagery. So it does make you wonder if this is all kind of calculated, Like maybe they're trying to provoke a reaction.
Yeah, and knowing Kanye, that wouldn't be totally out there. But speaking of reactions, GB News is reporting on some tension, like between Kim Kardashian and Kanye, and it's over Censori's clothing choices. This is where it gets kind of interesting.
Yeah, so the article claims that Kim has expressed concerns about Censori's outfits, especially around their children. They even gave an example. North West was recently seen wearing a fur hat, really similar to one that Censori wore. And that seems to be adding to Kim's worries.
Oh, wow. So this isn't just about like a fashion faux pas or whatever. Now we're talking about a possible influence on Kanye's kids. That's a whole other thing.
Right, exactly. And the article even quotes a source saying, Kim's convinced Bianca and Kanye are purposely trying to mess with her. So it's like this whole post-divorce power struggle thing, where even clothing becomes a battleground.
Oh, man, that's intense. It's not just about what they're wearing anymore. It's like family dynamics, boundaries, even maybe some keeping up with the West's drama going on.
Totally. Makes you wonder how common this is, Like how many blended families go through this kind of thing. It's got to be tough to navigate those waters, especially when you're under a microscope like they are.
Absolutely. Every move they make is analyzed.
Yeah.
But okay, let's switch gears for a sec. You found this YouTube video, True Celebrity Stories, and this one goes in a totally different direction. Some pretty serious allegations about control and manipulation in Kanye and Bianca's relationship. This isn't just tabloid stuff anymore.
Yeah, this video is intense. They basically claim that Kanye is like shaping Bianca's image to fit his own vision, you know? And they talk about how much her style has changed since they started dating. I mean, remember, she was an architect and a model. She had her own look before Kanye.
Right, and the video uses some strong language, too, saying she's trapped and that he's infantilizing her. They bring up everything from, like, controlling her social media and her diet to even banning her from talking to certain people.
Yeah, it's a lot. And they even analyze her behavior, like how she rarely smiles in photos anymore, and that she often carries a stuffed animal in public.
Which they say is like a sign of anxiety and regression, as if she's losing her sense of self.
Exactly, like she's being molded into this persona that Kanye has created, and that she's not truly herself anymore.
It's a lot to take in, for sure. But even though the video presents all this evidence, we do have to remember that it's relying a lot on anonymous sources, right?
Oh, absolutely. Got to take those claims with a grain of salt. It's important to think about, who these sources are and what their motives might be.
Yeah, because someone acting differently doesn't automatically mean they're being manipulated. People are complicated, and relationships are even more so.
Exactly. We can't just jump to conclusions based on outward appearances. And we also have to factor in, Kanye's history with mental health. Obviously, it's not an excuse for any potential harm, but it definitely adds another layer of complexity to the whole situation.
For sure. It's important to remember that these are real people, not just characters in some tabloid story.
Absolutely. So while this video raises some valid concerns, we can't take everything at face value, you know? It's a good reminder to be critical of the information we're consuming.
Yeah, for sure. And this all makes me think about that Daily Mail article again. Because on the one hand, you have this narrative of Bianca being controlled and silenced. But then the article also suggests that maybe Kanye and Bianca are enjoying all this attention. They even compared their Grammys appearance to some of Kanye's past album imagery. Like maybe it was a deliberate attempt to shock and provoke.
That's interesting. So are they victims or master manipulators? Or is it somewhere in between?
Yeah, it's like they're playing with how we see them,
Yeah.
blurring the lines between authenticity and performance.
Right, and that ambiguity is what makes this whole story so fascinating. It makes us think about our own assumptions about celebrity and relationships and how much we really know about what goes on behind closed doors.
It really does. So are they in control of their own story? Or are they just caught up in this bigger media game?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because whether they're intentionally stirring up controversy or not, the media definitely plays a huge role in amplifying it all.
Yeah, here we are dissecting their every move, scrutinizing their outfits, speculating about their motives. We're all part of this machine in a way.
Totally. It's a symbiotic relationship, you know.
Got it.
Celebrities need media attention to stay relevant, and the media needs celebrities to generate content and keep audiences engaged. And sometimes it's impossible to tell where reality ends and performance begins.
It's true. So are we all just stuck in this weird dance, trying to figure out what's real and what's just for show? It all comes back to that first question. What was the motivation behind that Grammys look?
Yeah, was it a calculated move for attention? A genuine expression of their style? Or maybe even a cry for help disguised as fashion? It's a puzzle we might never solve.
And maybe that's the point. Maybe they want us to keep guessing, to challenge our assumptions, and make us question the stories we create about them.
Yeah, that ambiguity can be powerful,
Hmm.
especially in the world of celebrity. Keeps people talking, keeps them intrigued, and ultimately it keeps them relevant.
Well, they've definitely accomplished that. This
Yeah.
whole situation has started so many conversations and made us think about fame relationships and how we see people in the spotlight.
It's true, and that's what's so interesting about this whole saga. It's not just about Kanye and Bianca. It's about us, the audience, and how we participate in celebrity culture. It's about the stories we choose to believe and the questions we're willing to ask.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good reminder that what we see on the surface might not be the whole picture. And a lot of times the most interesting questions are the ones without easy answers. It makes you think about that Daily Mail article again. It's like, on one hand, you have this idea of Bianca being controlled,
Yeah.
like being silenced even. But then the article also says that maybe they're both into all this attention. They even compare their look at the Grammys to some of Kanye's old album stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was all a plan to be shocking.
Yeah, it's an interesting contrast for sure. Like, are they victims of all this? Are they the ones in control? Or is it somewhere in between?
It's like they're messing with how we see them. That line between keeping it real and putting on a show, it's all blurry.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting. It makes us really think about what we believe about celebrities, about relationships, and like how much we really know about what's going on behind the scenes.
It really makes you wonder, are they calling the shots in their own story? Or are they just players in this whole media game?
That's the big question, isn't it? Because whether they're doing this on purpose or not, the media makes it way bigger.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are analyzing their every move,
Mm-hmm.
talking about their clothes, coming up with theories. We're all kind of part of this.
It's true. It's like a two-way street. Celebrities need the attention to stay in the game, and the media needs them to have something to talk about. Sometimes it's like you can't even tell what's real anymore.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So is this what we're doing then? Just stuck in this cycle, trying to figure out what's real and what's fake? It all goes back to that first question, though. What was the reason for that outfit at the Grammys?
Was it all planned out for attention? Was it just them expressing themselves? Or maybe was it something deeper, like a cry for help hidden in their clothes? Maybe we'll never know.
Maybe that's what they want. Keep us guessing, make us rethink things, question all the stories we make up about them.
Yeah, you're right. Ambiguity can be powerful, especially when it comes to celebrities. It keeps people talking, keeps them interested, and in the end, it keeps those celebrities relevant.
They've definitely done that. I mean, this whole thing has sparked so many conversations. It's got us thinking about fame and relationships and the way we see people in the spotlight.
That's so true. And that's what's so fascinating about all this. It's not just about Kanye and Bianca, it's about us too. The audience, and how we play into this whole celebrity world. What stories we believe, what questions we ask.
Yeah, that's a good point. It reminds us that what we see isn't always the whole story. And sometimes the best questions are the ones we can't easily answer. That makes you think, huh, even though celebrities, they live their lives out there for everyone to see, there's still so much we don't get. A whole other side to the story.
Yeah, totally. It really does make you think twice about all the stuff we read and the opinions we form. Like, are we too quick to believe everything we see? Do we give too much weight to, those anonymous sources and all this stuff online?
It's so easy to get caught up in it all, especially with social media these days. It's like everyone's got a theory and everyone's sharing it. But I think it's important to remember that at the center of it all, there are real people with real lives.
Absolutely. People with, their own baggage and their own struggles and their own truth that we might never really understand.
So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway from all of this?
I think it's about finding a balance, like being skeptical, but also being understanding, staying curious and asking questions, but also remembering that we're talking about real lives and real emotions here.
Yeah, and maybe we can even learn something about ourselves in the process, like how we think about fame and how drawn we are to drama and how quickly we jump to conclusions about people.
It's definitely something to think about. And as the story keeps going, I'm sure there'll be even more questions and more debate.
Oh, yeah. I don't think this is the end of it.
Mm.
So as we keep following Kanye and Bianca's story, let's try to do it with an open mind, Let's think critically and try to be empathetic.
I agree. The best stories are the ones that make us think and question things, the ones that make us see the world a little differently.
And that's what the Deep Dive is all about. Thanks for joining us.